How will you prevent yourself from becoming part of the same old Washington establishment? Or maybe as a second part of that, as a freshman representative there in the House, how are you going to deal with the House leadership telling you that they want you to do something that you don't particularly agree with?
I had the privilege of sitting with Congressman Webster, who I think is one of the finest men, not just a congressman, but as a gentleman, and sat and discussed these kind of things when it comes to ethics, things that can really pressure a freshman congressman coming in. I believe that it takes true leadership to stand firm on your convictions. I'm a man of convictions. I'm a man who believes in the changes that need to happen. Now, the people that vote for me are the people that I represent. I'm not going to Washington to represent the establishment. I'm not interested in, to be honest with you, it's even difficult, but at times to represent the party because of certain things that are going on right now in Washington. You need to hear what's going on in the district, understand what's happening in the district to be able to address the issues. I've been a person who pretty much all my life have been a person who either you really like me or you don't. And the reason for that is because I stand on my principles. I will not move, I will not budge. I'm not interested in being a part of the establishment. I'm interested in building what we call the legacy. Let me explain what that's all about. For 15 years as a youth pastor, I didn't understand what it was that I was doing. I was working with hundreds of youth all over Central Florida. Until I saw 5 or 6 of them say, hey, you know, I want to be like you. Like, you don't want to be like me. You don't know what it is, what I'm going through. But I saw them grow up and I saw them have this desire and this urge to want to be youth pastors or leaders. And so I mentored them and I worked with them. And I explained to them what was going on. And nowadays, they're doing their own thing. They're ministering in different churches. They've continued the legacy on. And I thought about that and I said, you know, this is an opportunity. I got to speak to Lake Nona High School a while back, just about a few months ago. And speaking to those young people, I asked there was 150 students. And I asked every one of them, 17, 18-year-olds, some who aren't going to vote. But I asked them, do you trust the government? Raise your hand. Not one child raised their hand. They don't believe in this government. They don't believe in what's happening. And it's going to take someone to stand up and say, this is why you need to believe that change can come. My job as a freshman congressman would be to stand my ground and to make sure that I could come back to the Sola Vita Club and speak openly and honestly and tell you why I voted the way I voted. Because I think that's part of the problem, transparency and understanding what it is that's happening in D.C. And that's my promise to you, that I will stand my ground and not budge just because an establishment needs me to go in a direction. And I will face you again and again and again and explain exactly why I did what I did. So I thank you for that opportunity.
I'm humble enough to recognize that this isn't something that we undertake alone and that we undertake by ourselves. Let me tell you something. Washington, D.C. is a weird, strange place. I've been there several times since announcing my candidacy for Congress, and I can tell you that it is a strange place with some funny vibes, and it changes people. And I'm humble enough to know that when I run, I'm not just running for myself, I'm running for each and every one of you, and I'm running to represent each and every one of you. So I humbly ask you to help me in that regard and hold me accountable. The Bible says very simply, put not thy faith in princes. Hold us accountable. Hold us accountable. Hold us to that standard. Hold us to our words. I have taken positions on many things very early on, from the beginning. Hold us to that. Most of you have my cell phone number in this building right now. Hold me accountable. Hold me accountable. With your help, that's how we're going to stay grounded. That's how we're going to stay focused on the task at hand. That's how we're going to remember why we went to D.C. in the first place. I'm not interested in the Georgetown cocktail parties or in belonging. All my life, I've been that guy, that outcast that isn't really interested in belonging in cliques. It's no different now that I'm going to the weirdest clique of all. But I need each and every one of your help. Thank you.
I think this is a great question. Because if I were sitting where you are, and I've spent a lot of years sitting where you are, listening to candidates pontificate, And that's why I'm more comfortable listening to you than pontificating. But I would be asking that question because candidates have stood before us time and time again and have made promises. And then they get elected and they lose. It's memory loss, automatic. And there are 3 reasons why you can count on me. And one is I have a track record of being someone that people can depend on, that they can count on, of bringing diverse people together, strong personalities to do great things, all within budget. Have a track record, not just a platform. And number 2 is I am interested in listening to and voting the will of the people of this district first. Because number 3, I have the freedom to do that because I'm going to Washington, D.C. on a mission of service. I don't need to build a lifetime career. Now, you have to plan for accountability. And one way you do that is you have a circle of resources, people that you can trust to tell you the truth. The most valuable thing that you can be, all of you, to any elected official, is don't be the old childhood story of the emperor has no clothes. Tell us. Tell me. That's going to be the most important way to hold us accountable. It lies with you. It lies with me. And I think you have to plan on visiting Washington and living here and coming back home and putting it on your calendar and on your schedule and making it a priority to be a part of your district and to understand your people and to hear what they have to say. And I will be here for you. Hold me accountable.